Ciao, hi, hey, hola, guys, amigos. It's your boy MKS here. Back another video. Namaste, konnichiwa, all that kind of stuff. Just gonna check I'm live on Facebook again. Yay, Facebook uploaded quite quickly for once. Sometimes it does, I guess. But anyway, case in point. Yeah, this time I'm focusing on the on the YouTube screen. In part one, I was focusing Facebook, so I thought I'd mix up a bit. Yeah, hope you enjoy it, and I'm in a bit of a rush because I'm planning to go to the gym in about 9 or 10 minutes, but it will take longer than that to make this video, so I'll probably have to be a bit late, which is a bit of a shame, but oh well. Here you go. So these are pointers number 11 to 20. I'm trying to find something to eat, but I couldn't find much to eat, so anyway, nice life story, but here goes. So number 11, I normally think of a changing. I normally think of change when I think of the number 11. So I thought I would ask a question. I suppose a kind of challenge, but also a question, which is, what do you think? What, if anything, do you think could be a fairer deal than the one I'm offering? If you saw part one, sorry for any new guys stumbling across this mad guy here. But yeah, I talked about what I call 1 to 4 1 or share line for line and like for like. I'm not going to go into too much detail on that, so please check out part one if you haven't done so. But yeah, so this might hopefully make more sense, hopefully, ideally. I know I do struggle to explain myself and get to the point and that kind of thing. But yeah, what if anything do you think could be a fairer deal, and what do you think are the fairest deals that could be made? So like I talked about, basically, again, not wanting to go into too much detail, but talking about like for each piece of work that someone helps me to write or work on, I would love to share something back in, like whether that's if a religious group or individual helps, like I'll share Qurans or Bibles or whatever, depending on who supports me, and line for line, that kind of thing. But again, not going into too much detail on that, so I talked about it in part one. I'm sure there's something else I can say, thinking about change. I'd love to be able to express my ideas and explain them better, and sit down with people to make fair deals and whatnot, in return for those support my works. But I'm going to move on anyway to point number 12. I talked about like how I'd love to have my own productive and or creative rooms, which I'll drink that as they say, but productive and or creative rooms, as say that these are a bit hot. We'll save that going for tea. That I could be basically productive and creative in, and work on my writings and videos and things like that. Also, one thing I'd love to be able to do is I'd love to be able to go through all my writings, my notebooks and that kind of thing. If you need a visual example, but I'd love to be able to go through all my writings, and nowadays I try and only write on lined paper, like plain paper, even included coloured paper, different coloured papers like green or blue or whatever. I like to save for artists, to give them for artists, especially in developing nations, and to record those with mental health conditions or neurodivergent conditions or whatever, but especially in developing countries, nations and whatnot in particular. But I'd love to write on all my writings. I was hoping to do that today, or not, maybe not all of them, because in one day, I probably wasn't doing a day. As I do collect a lot of notebooks. If I can, I'd love to have notebooks when and wherever I have permission to receive envelopes, notebooks, and that kind of thing, and even people maybe to send them to me, especially maybe sometimes even just the goodness of their heart. Sometimes for me to share something in return, which I'll be happy to do. Yeah, trying to remember my train of thought as well. Sorry, but yeah, I'd love to write. I thank God for the opportunity in all my notebooks, as well as like even obviously envelopes and everything I get to write on, especially notebooks, and also on everything I type pretty much, or certainly some of the things I don't make on everything, for most of them. But and also on my videos, I love to type in the comment section and record a description. I thank God for the opportunity, and in spite of the fact that God lets me down on a daily basis, I love God with all my mind, my heart, soul, and strength. But I'd say the generic God, if you like in the future, I'd love to. If I was going to follow any religion, I suppose there's dilemmas, because there's lots of things in each religion I probably disagree with, or whatever. And I don't want to believe in a religion out of fear. I want to believe in one out of hope and love and that kind of thing, rather than fear and negativity and hate and that kind of thing. The more I love something, the less I fear something, the more I love it normally, and the more I fear it. Generally speaking, the less I love it. So that's a bit of a dilemma with probably both Islam and Christianity. But I hope to have the same deal for everyone. But whichever religion supports my writing the most, I'd love to follow that religion. But there's a few dilemmas I have in that religion, which I might cover a bit later, all being well. Hopefully we'll cover those all being well later. But yeah, as I say, I'd love to write on all my works, or as many of them as possible at least. I thank God for the opportunity, and I love God with all my mind, my heart, soul, and strength, even though He or she lets me down on a daily basis. But yeah, I'd love for God to prove their existence in a good way by supporting my works, by helping someone as stupid as me to do those works. As I mentioned in part 1, and I'll probably mention in the past, no doubt, and I'll probably mention again in the future, know me. But moving on to 13, I guess I have my doubts on things like whether I'm able to express or explain my ideas as well as I'd like. Express and explain my ideas. And yeah, I have a dilemma with religion, like both Islam and Christianity, I think, are mainly because they're the main religions which try and convert people, I guess, monotheist religions or whatever. But my dilemma is like when in Islam it says God is merciful and these sort of things, but it doesn't really feel like that. And also, the God of the Holy Bible is like said to be loving and that kind of thing. And in many cases, it doesn't really feel like that, if I'm honest. I suppose in Christianity, it's say lean not on your own understanding. The reason why I'm mentioning religion quite a lot, I guess, is because I guess that's one of the religious groups, or some of the groups I wish to share information on if they support my writings and things like that, to say thank you and that kind of thing. But yeah, I don't want to believe in a religion, as I say, because of fear that something terrible will happen to me, like going to hell or whatever. That feels more like threat. Threats. Again, I suppose Christians will say, "Lean not on your own understanding" or whatever. But it reminds me of. It makes me think of if I'm honest, a bit of a controversial one. If I'm purely honest, and I suppose religions normally tell you not to lie, I guess. But if I was purely honest, possibly autistic traits about being honest and seeing things a certain way or whatever, maybe. But I would say it would make me think of like a kidnapper or whatever, like saying, or to answer a call someone who wants to date or marry someone, and they say, rather than saying like I'm a really good person to be with, and I'll make your life better, I'll make your life richer and better overall. I suppose that's the thing. They say, "Oh, I'll bash your brains if you don't marry me or if you don't date me." It feels a bit like that, if I'm honest. Whereas if it's like, "I'll support your goals and that kind of thing, and your goals, dreams, aims, objectives," what I call my courses in my case, and that kind of thing. My goals will be part of those courses, those 5 courses, which I hope to dedicate my life to. I'd rather be with that. Number 14, I hope I can find solutions like how to express my ideas better, explain my ideas better, put my ideas into action, and promote this idea of one-to-one share. But I can be quite shy. Like sometimes I go to different groups, and including like a social group, games group, and that kind of thing, which is at church. But if I could express this idea, this is what I try and say. But I can imagine the arguments back. Like for instance, I think of like. Maybe I should say it's a point with 13, but I can think of someone saying like, "We don't want to encourage you to hoard too much," or they might say, "That's how religion works," or they might say, like, "If we give you your own room, you'll just hoard too much," or whatever it might be. But I suppose it could always be based on an agreement, like I'm only allowed to have a certain amount of notebooks, a certain amount of things to write on, writing material or whatever. So hopefully we can come to a fair consensus. And it could be, it'll be whatever they agree upon. Like how many notebooks they allow me to have or whatever in these creative rooms, if and whenever I get to put them into practice, if and whenever I get to write them, and that kind of thing, get those deals made. So if they wanted me to share 10 Qurans or 100 Qurans or 1,000, if they help me with writing that many things, whether that's receipts, envelopes, or notebooks, that's what I do back. And same for Bibles with the church or Bhagavad Gitas or whatever. The same sort of deal would be for political parties and so-called businesses as well. So as I mentioned before, like being a libertarian, I guess Labour or the Tories or any other political party probably wouldn't want to support that kind of thing, but maybe they could support me my other plans instead, and I would share information whether I agree with it or not. Perhaps. As a thank you for supporting my plans, always told me it's 9 o'clock, so I'm running a bit late as usual, but yeah, I hope to find solutions. I normally think of solutions in point 14. I guess I still have a lot of things that, like fears of the number 13 and things like that. But I want to be fair to all religions, whichever one supports my plans the most. And moving on to point number 15, as I say, whichever religion supports my cause the most, and I would say, to me, that's the fairest deal I can think of. If anybody else, I'd love to know in the comments. But or any thoughts you have, hopefully not too harsh. But you're welcome to post anything you like. I don't censor any comments personally. I don't know if YouTube or Facebook will or whatever, but I don't know if YouTube and Twitter or Facebook will or whatever. But I'd say I'd love for the true religion, if there is one, and the true God to support my causes the most. That could be, like, say, I don't know, say if Muslims say we don't want to support your writing because it would encourage hoarding, which is messy and untidy, which we're a religion that promotes cleanliness or whatever. So they will say, okay, well, we'll support your videos instead or whatever. But it'll be between those 5 causes, whichever one supports me the most. Ideally, that's the one I would follow if I was going to follow any. And also, as I don't want to follow any religion, but I'd love for the true religion and the true God to show me who they are, not through threats and intimidation, but by supporting my 5 causes, whether that's through my writings, videos, typings, or whatever, or a range of those things. But I would still, like for instance, let's say if Christians support my videos more, but my YouTube and Facebook videos more, but Muslims support my writings more on paper, or vice versa, or whatever. I would still try to share both. How can I explain it? I would still. So as I say, with 1, 2, or 4, 1 or share like and line for line and that kind of thing, and also like for like. If they help me with, let's say, I don't know, Muslims help me to write, between them they help me to write as individuals and or as groups, organisations or associations or whatever. If they help me to write 1,000 notebooks or whatever, let's say, for instance, or 1,000 pieces of work, whether that's receipts, envelopes, notebooks or whatever, and churches help me to make or create 100 videos or whatever, let's say, and struggle helps to promote and like my videos. And I suppose any religion or any business or political party could post things that they want to in the comments, so they can promote their business or political party or religion or whatever. But yeah, between the 5 causes, that's the one I would follow the most. Does that make sense? Please let me know in the comments. I hope I'm making as much sense as possible. Say some sense, as much sense as possible, preferably. Number 16. Again, I'd love to know if you can think of any fairer deals. It'd be a challenge for you, I guess, but I think that's the fairest deal I can think of. Like 1, 2 off, or 1 share means it's literally the same. Like however many notes or things works helping me to write. I would, or whatever. I would love to return the favour, which for me is the fairest deal I can think of. Number 17. I can't really. I suppose I struggle to imagine that. Sometimes I wish God would give me a vision, a dream, probably a positive one, of course. As you might imagine, I would love to have, which would show me like having all these notes and writing all these plans and things like. Maybe God could give me a vision of what the world would be like if my mad dream about having notebooks everywhere and not being able to walk anywhere or whatever. Maybe God would could show me a sign like that. Would make me think, oh, well, yeah, I guess that would be a nightmare. Maybe God not supporting my writings up to an extent is a blessing in disguise. But I would love for God to show me through a dream, like if I have positive dreams, which I imagine having my own productive / creative rooms, places and spaces for my paperwork and things like that, and made lots of videos and created lots of great things. And maybe we're sharing Qurans, Bibles or whatever in my local city or town or wherever it might be. sort of say thank you. That'd be a pretty cool dream, I think. Or maybe even God giving other people dreams to say, help this mad guy here with his writings in my honour and that kind of thing. I think that would be pretty cool. But I can't really imagine. A lot of time I talk about it. I suppose this is my way of expressing these ideas, and at least giving it a go. But I guess I'd rather give it a try than not. I guess, but part of me can't really imagine doing so. But having these deals, but I'd love to have these deals, and I hope people understand me better than I think they do. Number 18, I'd love to be more optimistic. I wish God would also help me to be an optimist and a positive person and see positive visions and imaginations and thoughts and whatnot. Again, proving his or her existence in a positive way. If only the true God and true religion showed their existence and show who they are, what they are, and that kind of thing, in a positive way. In my opinion, would be support my writings, videos, and whatnot, and that kind of thing. So yeah, just trying to think of any other positive things I can cover. But if you can think of any positive things, please post them in my comments. I'll say in the comment section rather. Number 19, as I say, I struggle to imagine having productive rooms, creative rooms, people being able to understand me. Sometimes I know how mad it is that if I did have papers everywhere, like I would be able to move and that kind of thing, I would be able to play football or dance or walk or whatever. But when and wherever I have permission, I guess I should say. And again, I hope to return the favour. So if a mosque or a church or whatever other group, a council or whatever, help me with like empty rooms, empty buildings that are not being used or whatever, and that kind of thing, then I can return the favour. And number 20, I'm going to try and get ready to go to the gym now. So I'm thankful for. Yes, that's another video I could have covered. Like what I'm thankful for. I was thinking like what partnership Italian football and Celtic could have with Asians to help Italian football to become world class and help develop Asians in football and that kind of thing. Another thing I suppose I could have covered is things that I am actually thankful for, like my health, my physical health at least. Even though